Here we go. Stand by, please. Rolling on 6. On
You're
6.
quite good.
Yeah, here we go. Welcome to a new episode of the Celebrity Archaeology Podcast, sponsored in part by the Built on Dreams Media Network and contributions from listeners like you. I'm your host, Adam Scull. If this is the first time listening to the podcast, welcome. If you're a returning listener, thanks for coming back. Our goal is to preserve the cultural heritage of celebrity photography from decades past for the benefit of future generations. Pull up a comfortable chair, hang out with us, and have a great time reminiscing about your favorite stars. Paul and Linda McCartney, photographed in 1982, are on this episode's cover. We can thank Linda for being the inspiration behind Paul's most beautiful ballads, including Maybe I'm Amazed and My Love. Paul told People magazine in 1993 that any love song I wrote was written for Linda. Their marriage lasted 29 years until Linda's death from breast cancer on April 17, 1993. They spent only a total of 11 nights apart when Paul was jailed in Japan on a marijuana charge. Their marriage lasted 29 years until Linda's death from breast cancer on April 17, 1993. They spent only a total of 11 nights apart when Paul was jailed in Japan on a marijuana charge. Paul fell for the striking Linda after meeting her in 1967 when she was a celebrity photographer on assignment in London. Paul took to the American woman who was unassuming. She dressed down and preferred being out with Mother Nature rather than attending parties. I don't need a lot of money. Simplicity is the answer for me, she said. Paul's estimated net worth at the time was $860 million. The McCartneys married in 1969, and Paul adopted her daughter Heather. They spent blissful days on a farm in Scotland where they raised their growing family. Mary, Stella, the successful fashion designer, and James completed the group. Linda Eastman was born in New York City and raised in Westchester. Her father was an entertainment lawyer. She lost her mother in an airplane crash, which gave Linda a fear of flying. She preferred spending time at home rather than traveling. Linda attended Vermont College, where she received an Associate of Arts degree. Later, she attended the University of Arizona, where she majored in fine arts. It was while she was at the University of Arizona that she met and married Melvin C. They had a daughter named Heather. The marriage was short-lived, and Linda found herself living as a single mom. She got a job as a receptionist at Town & Country magazine. She used an unwanted invitation to a Rolling Stones party in New York to document the event and photograph the band. This became an important career change for her. In the mid-60s, she continued to chronicle all of the top bands of the musical revolution of the time. On May 11, 1968, she became the first female photographer to have her work on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. It was a photograph of Eric Clapton. Besides photography, animals and vegetarianism were Linda's passions. Linda described the McCartneys' meatless turning point. We stopped eating meat many years ago. During the course of a Sunday lunch, we happened to look out of the kitchen window at our young lambs playing happily in the fields. Glancing down at our plates, we suddenly realized that we were eating the leg of an animal who had until recently been playing in a field herself. We looked at each other and said, "Wait a minute. We love these sheep. They're such gentle creatures. So why are we eating them?" It was the last time we ever did. Linda published a successful line of vegetarian cookbooks and together with her husband, they started McVeg, a line of vegetarian products. It was Linda who helped Paul through the devastating breakup of the Beatles. In 1971, Paul and Linda formed Wings. He taught her how to play keyboards, and her vocals can be heard on all of their music. When I first toured with Wings, the things that were said about me were true, she said. I did sing out of tune. Paul's final words to Linda. You're up on your beautiful Appaloosa stallion. It's a fine spring day. We're riding through the woods. The bluebells are all out, and the sky is clear blue. Thanks for joining me today on the Celebrity Archaeology Podcast, brought to you in part by the Built on Dreams Media Network. I hope you have found the content I've shared memorable and enjoyable. Be sure to visit celebrityarchaeology.com to see many of our photos and pick up the link to the podcast. Love this episode of the podcast? Head over to iTunes to subscribe so you always are up to date. Head over to iTunes to subscribe so you're always up to date on the latest episode. Rate and leave a review and tell your friends about the podcast. Join us next time for the Celebrity Archaeology Podcast and learn about the lives of your favorite celebrities.